Yeah, good morning all of you. Am I audible? Shall we start? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Uh, Today we are going to continue what we were discussed. What we discussed in the previous class. So we were discussing about post correspondence problem and undecidability. So before going into things, I'd like to again refresh you what is decidable, what is undecidable, what is RE languages, what is recursive languages, etc. We'll have a fast recap and then we'll move on to the post correspondence problem with respect to Turing machine. So in the previous class, we discussed about post correspondence problem with respect to context free grammar. Okay. So now, as I told you, we'll first discuss about what is decidability and undecidability, and we'll further move on. So when do we say that the problem is decidable? So, we say that the problem is decidable if it can be solved by a Turing machine. It's quite simple, a very straightforward definition. So, if it can be solved by a Turing machine P, and also the most important thing is that it has to come to a halt. Halt means it has to stop. It should not enter into infinite loop. So then we say that the problem P has got an decidable solution, right? So what about the language that corresponds to the decidable problem? We call it as recursive languages. I repeat again. So recursive languages are the languages corresponds to the problem P which are decidable. Okay. What is decidable? It has got a Turing machine and that will always halt. Okay. So what is undecidability then? Here we cannot, that is a problem cannot be solved by any Turing machine, okay, that halts on all the inputs. So what is the corresponding language called as? It is called as non-recursive languages. That is this type of problems where we cannot have a Turing machine, we call it as undecidable. Okay, this is a definition for decidable and what is it, undecidable languages. Now, what is the complement of a recursive language? Actually, this comes under the closure properties, but anyway, if L is a recursive language, then L bar is also recursive. That is, if this is one Turing machine, so as it is a recursive language, it is solvable. That is, it will have some solution. So the Turing machine will say either accept or reject. So we are building a second Turing machine M bar or M dash, something like that. So which will give the result in the opposite direction. If the first Turing machine rejects that, this M bar will accept that. Similarly, if the first Turing machine accepts, the second machine will reject that. That is a complement. So if L is a recursive language, L bar is also recursive. So this particular diagram gives you an understanding about this. So how can we prove that? So we build a Turing machine M. You can see that this is this M. Okay, what is the language? The language given to the Turing machine is L. Okay, so we consider that this will halt. That is, it is a decidable problem. So we construct another Turing machine M bar, that is this one. Okay, so what is the language? It accepts a language that is complement to L, which is nothing but L bar. So that always halts. Okay, so this particular example gives you an understanding about if L is a recursive language, then L bar is also recursive. Maybe this may be asked in some 8 marks or 6 marks depending upon the examiner. So kindly take note of this. I think ma'am will share the PPT to you at the end of this class. So there is nothing much here. We have two machines M and M bar. M will accept means M bar will reject. So if L is recursive, L bar is also recursive. That is, its complement is also recursive. Now coming to the RE languages. What is RE languages? Recursively enumerable languages. So in this case, what happens here? So if both the language L and its complement are recursively enumerable, then L is recursive. See, this is quite different. Okay. So what is R language? R languages, we have a Turing machine which can be constructed for that. So what about RE languages? Recursively enumerable languages are also languages, okay, So which comes under the category of a Turing machine identification. Okay. So here, just a minute. So in this RE languages, it is what is it? A subset of all the possible words over the alphabet. If there is a Turing machine, okay, what will happen in this RE languages means we call it as a Turing acceptable language, right? We discussed about Turing acceptable, Turing recognizable, etc. RE languages actually are languages. Yeah, what happened? Okay. So here also we have a Turing machine. Coming to this example, we have two machines. One is M1 and another one is M2. So M1 and M2 are some Turing machines there. For one machine, L is given as input, and for another one, the complement of that language is given as input. As you all know that RE languages are acceptable by Turing machine. So you can see that L is accepted. So L bar is also accepted by the Turing machine. Now we build another Turing machine M. Okay, here you can see that we build another Turing machine M, which will also accept if M1 accepts. Similarly, if M2 accepts, it will reject. So what happens here is you can see that L bar is also a RE language. Okay. L is also what is it, RE language, whereas if the complement is taken, this particular machine M2 will M will reject the output of M2. This is called as the complement of RE languages. Okay, so we'll just conclude this thing. Like we have L and L bar, both are complement to each other, and both these languages are considered to be RE languages. Then what happened to this L? This L is recursive language. Okay, so this is another theorem. So what is the next theorem? What we are going to discuss is a non-recursive RE language. So what is this non-recursive RE language? So let's consider a RE language that is not recursive. Okay, so what is the meaning for this? That this language can be accepted by a Turing machine, but it will not always halt. I think we have discussed this in the first class about Turing machines, right? Of the fifth unit. So what we have to do is, again, we have to encode that into a binary Turing machine and check if it is acceptable. Now, this is the relationship between R and RE languages. So R language or recursive language is a subset of this RE languages. Okay. Now, this non-recursive enumerable languages are nothing but they are the non-RE languages which are outside this RE languages. Okay, fine. So I think we'll skip this. This is very important. A universal language. So what is a universal language? So normally it is denoted by L subscript U, that is LU. So it is same as solving the problem of K and W. That is, we have to decide whether the Turing machine accepts W or not. So let's consider language LU, and we are going to show that it is RE but not recursive. As we have seen in the previous slide, here all R languages, that is recursive languages, are RE, but the vice versa is not the same. Why? Because recursively enumerable languages are a superset of recursive languages. It's not a subset. Okay, so here we are going to build a what is it, LU, that is a universal language that can be accepted by a Turing machine. Okay, so here there is no Turing machine for this universal language that always halts. So the problem statement here is that we are going to show that this LU is RE language, which means that it is recursively enumerable, but they are not recursive languages. Okay. So now coming to this example, we are going to consider a universal Turing machine here. So we have to show that LU is RE, that is recursively enumerable. So we are going to construct a universal Turing machine So which will recognize the L of U. Now, this universal Turing machine, we call it as U. This machine is designed in such a way that given K and W, okay, so we have to mimic the operation of this Tk. So here, for example, we have K and W, we have a separator here. Okay, so the Turing machine will move back and forth, that is, it can move in both the directions, so that it can either take K and W. Now, this is the block diagram of this universal Turing machine. So Tk is there. We are giving the input like K. We have a separator here. The separator is a combination of zeros and ones, and we have another string W. So here W is given to this Turing machine. It will accept. So this is a universal Turing machine built over this Turing machine Tk, which will also accept this string W. Okay. See. Can we construct that for LD? LD is nothing but diagonal language. I think you might have studied that in the 4th unit. So, can we construct a universal Turing machine for LD means? Yes, we can do it. Okay. Now, going to the next type of example here, a detailed manner. What we do is, see, here is a Turing machine M, and before that we have a copy, right? So here K is the input string. So K is given here. You can see that instead of W, you can see a K here. That is the same thing has been copied here. Okay. So we are going to show that LU is non-recursive. We have already shown that LU is RE language. That is recursively enumerable. But as I told you, it is not non-recursive. So let's consider that if LU is recursive, okay, then there is a Turing machine M for this LU that can always halt. Okay, why? Because if it is recursive, the Turing machine has to halt. So then we can construct a Turing machine M dash. Okay, this is the entire Turing machine here. Okay, such that if M accepts, this M dash will reject, and if M rejects, M dash will always accept. So what is the conclusion of this? So the conclusion of this is that, okay, LD is non-recursively enumerable. In the sense, diagonal languages are non-recursively enumerable. So M dash does not exist. We cannot construct a machine. Okay. Why? Because there is no such Turing machine M that can accept this LD. So therefore, the universal languages are RE but not recursive. So this is a very important theorem. We have to show that universal languages are RE but not recursive. Okay. So I hope I have explained you the relationship between recursive and recursively enumerable languages in the previous slide. Okay. So you can see that if this is a recursive language, then the outermost thing is RE language. This is the relationship that exists between recursive and non-recursive languages. Okay. So I think I have explained about halting problem. So halting problem in the sense the machine I have to design a machine such that the machine can halt. Okay. So we'll go for this discussion today. Post correspondence problem with respect to Turing machine. Okay. So I have skipped a few slides because we have discussed all those things, the same concepts in the previous class itself. So now, what we are going to discuss is all about Turing machine with respect to modified post correspondence problem with respect to Turing machine. Okay. Now we'll consider a Turing machine. Actually, an arrow mark should be there. Okay, but anyway, we can ignore that. So here you can see that the Turing machine has got two states, Q0 and Q1. And the alphabets that are used are 0 and 1, you can see here. Okay. And coming to the state symbols, we have 0, 1, and of course blank symbol represented by hash. So we have some transitions that happen here. So there are two transitions. So the first transition is that if Q naught on 1 goes to Q naught, comma 0. Just a minute. Yeah, I'm sorry. So, what we are going to do now is we are going to discuss about post correspondence problem with respect to Turing machine. So, this particular Turing machine has got like okay, two transitions. One is del of q naught comma 1 equal to q naught comma 0 comma r, and another one is del of q naught comma 0, which is nothing but q1 comma 0 comma l. So the input that we are going to consider with respect to the Turing machine is the string W, which is 110. So we have to find whether this 110 is accepted by the Turing machine. Okay, and whether it will go to the acceptance state and halt. Now we have to construct as we have been discussing. What is it? There are two lists in the post correspondence problem. One we call it as list A, and another one is list B. So this is quite different thing. Where in the previous example, actually list A was leading, whereas here they are considering that the list B is leading here. But anyway, it's not a problem. You can either interchange with list A or list B. So in the example problem which we discussed in the class yesterday, sorry, the previous class, list A was somewhat leading when compared to list B. Okay, now coming to how things are working here. List A starts with a hash symbol. Okay, list B has also got hash symbol, but in addition to that, it has got few characters. So what is this? This is the start state of the Turing machine under consideration. Probably you can remember that the start state is Q0 and the acceptance state is Q1 here, and the string is 110. So you can see that this Q0 is nothing but the start state, and the string under consideration. I'm sorry. So this is the string under consideration. So W, which is nothing but 110, followed by hash symbol. So this is the first pair. So actually we are going to have such some 5 types of such pairs in the string, list A and list B. So coming to the next one, this is quite interesting. Okay, so from the what is it? Two transitions. We have two transitions. These are the two transitions. So the first transition says that del of q naught comma 1 is nothing but q naught comma 0 comma r. So we have to enter that values in list A and list B. So how do we do that? See, what we do is, so we consider the input state and the input symbol, that is the present state and the input symbol Q01. Don't make any changes, put that in list A. Okay. Whereas here what happens here in this what is it, the output. So the transition from Q0, it stays in Q0. So what is the input symbol here? 1. It is changed to 0 here. That is that 1 is consumed and it changed to 0. And the what is it? The head of the Turing machine over the tape moves towards the right. It moves forward. So what happens actually? I can draw a tape something like this. So let it be blank here, and let it be blank. I think the input is 110, right? So 110, and it is a blank here. So initially my tape head is here. what happens here is this is changed to 0 and this head moves towards the right. So what will happen if it moves towards the right? The present input symbol moves backwards. Am I correct? It's just like as we walk forward, the object that is before us will move back. Okay, even you can notice that when we are driving a bike or a car or train, something like that. When we move forward, the object that is in front of us will move back. Similarly, here, since it moves towards the right, that is moves forward, you can see that the input moves backward, that is it moves to backward of this present state Q0. Okay, so actually this is a formula. I share some text document of how this can be done. But anyway, this is the explanation of how things are listed in list A and list B. I repeat again, the transition is del of Q0 comma 1 equal to Q0 comma 0 comma R. Okay, so what happens here is Q0 comma 1, no change, just copy it and list B, sorry, list A. In list B, since the tape head moves towards the right, the input moves back, that is 0, and the present state Q0 moves to the front. So it has to be 0 comma Q0. So the interesting here is it is a left. It moves towards the left. So if it moves towards the left in the sense it moves backwards, what will happen? Okay, this is quite interesting. Okay, so I'll draw any okay, the same thing again. So the input is 1, 1, 0. Am I correct? I'll check again. Yeah, 1, 1, 0 is the input. So first transition has happened. So in the sense this has become 0. Am I correct? So this transition makes, that is the first transition makes that the first one as 0. Now, what is the input symbol here? It is also 0. So again the same thing will be happen. Why? Because Q0 comma 1. So this also will become 0. So now we have an input like 0, 0, 0. Now what will happen? It is from Q0 comma 0 is the input. Am I correct? Q0 comma 0 is the input. Why? Because since it moves forward, the head will be here. Okay, I repeat again. Initially it was 1, 1, 0. Since it is Q0 comma 1, what happens here is that it remains in the same state Q0, but it changes 1 to 0 and it moves forward. When it moves forward, the head tape will, the head will come here. Here also the input is 1. Okay. So since this is the 1, the same Q0 comma 1, the first transition will again get repeated. So this will also become 0. Okay. And then the head moves towards right. Okay. Why? Because still we are in the first transition. That is, we are using the first type of transition. There is no change here. Okay. So now, once this head comes to this position, that is here. Okay, so the present state is Q0. Okay, so the present state is Q0 and the input is 0. Now what will happen? I have to go to the second transition, this one. So the second transition is Q0 on 0 is nothing but Q1 comma 0 comma left. In the sense the head will move backwards. So it moves to Q0. Okay, so it moves to Q1 and the 0 remains as 0, no change in 0. So in the sense what will happen, this head will move here. Okay, that why? Because it is a left, right? So it moves backwards, 0 remains 0, no change at all, but the state is not Q0 anymore, it comes to Q1. Okay, now in this case what will happen, you can see that list A and list B are added something like this. So what is this 0, Q0, 0? It is nothing but the head tape symbol is here. Okay, so this Q0, 0 comes as it is and a 0 is present before this. Okay, so it may not be the same for all the cases. Why? Because it will vary. Sometimes it may be a 1 also. And hence, what we have to do is, we have to put the 0 and 1, which are the two input alphabets used, or the two input symbols that are used before the present state Q0 comma 0. So this is the Q0 comma 0. We are adding the 0 and 1, which are the two input symbols before the state. This is in list A. Coming to list B, as it is explained here, it moves to Q1. Okay, it moves to Q1. So what is this 0, 0 and what is this 1, 0? This is quite interesting. You please carefully watch this. See, this 0 and 1 are nothing but again the input symbols, which is under this what is it in the which is used in the Turing machine. I'm sorry. So what is this 0, 0? This 0, 0 comes from this value. Okay. So I'll repeat again. I'll just I'll clear this. Fine. So I'll just explain about this two only. Here, this 0, 1 and this 0, 1. Okay. So here it is inserted before the state and this is inserted after the state. And what is this 0, 0? This 0, 0 comes from this value, that is 0, 0. And this 0, 0 which is here is taken here. Okay. So why do I insert here before the value and here afterwards? Why? Because it moves towards the left. Left means I move backward. If I move backward, what will happen to the object which is near me? It will move front. Am I correct? If I move backward, whatever input is there, it will move forward, and hence this 0 and 1 are inserted after this 1. Okay, not before that. So probably, as I told you, I'll send how this can be input for the right, left, as well as if it is. So this is having an input. Sometimes we may have epsilon transition also. I'll send a note for that. You can use that and infer how this is K and this B is written. But anyway, I have explained how this is done. Coming to this, it is very simple. So if there is a 0 and 1 in, what is this 0 and 1? These are nothing but, what is it? The terminals used, and also hash is a terminal. Okay. So if it is a terminal on list A, insert another terminal, the equivalent terminal here. And coming to the next part of the list. So here, what we do is, this is quite a lengthier one. It has got some 8 what is it, values in list A and list B. So put only the acceptance state in list B. What is the acceptance state? It is nothing but Q1. Okay. I'll repeat again. Put the acceptance state in list B, which is nothing but Q1. Coming to list A, you write all the possible combinations of 0 and 1. Okay. So here you can see that it is 0 Qn, 1 Q1. Okay, that is the input alphabet for before the what is it, acceptance state, and here you can see that that is present after, and here the same thing is repeated, but we are having before and after the stage, that is 0, 1 and 1, 0, and here this is with respect to 0 and 0, and this is with respect to 1 and 0 again. Okay, so this is how list A and list B can be prepared. Next one is the ending string. So yes, we have, okay, if we reach the acceptance state, it should be Q1 hash in list A and a hash in list B. Okay, so this is how the 5 strings are constructed. As I told you, we are going to construct how many strings? 5 strings. So this is the first one, this is the second one, this is the third one, this is the fourth one, and this is the fifth one. So these are the 5 strings. Okay, once these strings are considered, constructed, we solve it by using this string. So this is from string 1. From string 1, okay, if there is a hash at the start, it will be hash, Q0 is the start state, 110 is the input symbol W, and it proceeds. So similarly, list all the 5 things, whatever are there in the 5 things are listed here. Okay, now this is the example of how the Turing machine performs. So here initially it is 110. So what happens here is this 1 is changed to 0, and since it moves towards the right, 1 comes back. This is the instantaneous description. I think you might have discussed that in 3rd unit as well as 4th unit. the instantaneous description for PDA as well as for Turing machine. You might have discussed this earlier. So this is the instantaneous description. So here, this 1 is changed to 0 since the head moves towards the right forward. The symbol moves backward. Similarly, another 1 is there. So here Q0 comma 1 is the transition. So transition number 1 happens here. The tape moves forward and hence the input symbol 1 is converted to 0 and it moves back of Q0. So the next one is Q0 comma 0. Q0 comma 0 means it moves to Q1. Since it moves towards the left, this 0 will come front. So here you can see that 2 0 0 are there and only 1 0 is present before and the machine halts here. So this is the instantaneous description of the given problem. Now let us discuss about the solution. Okay, so the solution is very similar to what we were discussing for the previous examples. We have discussed 4 examples. One is with very simple numbers which had solution like 0, 1, something like that we discussed. And another one is post correspondence problem without solution. We cannot have a matching string. And also we discussed the one for context-free grammar in the previous place. Okay. Now, so we are forming list A and list B. So what will be in list A? Actually, list A will have only this hash. Am I correct? If you remember, it will have only hash in the start. Okay, this is list A. You can see that. What will be the contents of list B? List B will contain hash Q0 1 1 0 hash. So Q0 will have until this. This is the first string. Okay. So what happened to the next? What is the? I have to match with Q0. So if I insert Q0, okay, I cannot directly insert Q0. Why? Because Q0 does not come here separately. You can see that Q0 comes here in the second transition. So if I insert Q0 1 in list A, I have to insert 0 Q0 in list B. So you can see that Q0 1 is inserted in list A and 0 Q0 is inserted in list B. As I told you, always in this example, list B will be always one step ahead. Okay. So the first one is I am using 2. Since this is modified post correspondence problem, I have used the sequence number 1 here. So the next option what I have to do is I have to find some match for this 1. Okay. So if you go back to this thing, so I can use this. If there is a 1 in list B, insert another 1 in list A also. So here I am inserting this 1 as well as this 1 here. This is by using this 7. And what happens here? Sorry, I'm extremely sorry for this 0. Why? Because we have already found a match for this Q01 earlier. Okay, by this 2. Okay, what is the next input? The next input is 0 here. So if a 0 is inserted here, another 0 is inserted here. Okay, sorry, for this 0 will be inserted. Next one is what is the next? We have a hash symbol in list B. So if hash symbol is to be inserted in list A, why? Because list D is ahead. For this hash symbol, insert hash symbol here. So you can see that I am here in list A, whereas list B it is what is it? It's marking ahead of A. So what is after hash? 0 is there. Okay. So if it is a 0 here, insert a 0 in list A as well as in list B. So 0 is inserted. So afterwards what is there? You can see that Q0, but Q0 I cannot have it separately. Why? Because there is no Q0 separately here. I have this Q01, so use that and insert 0 Q0 in B. So you can see that 0 Q0 is inserted here and 0 Q0 comes here. So similarly it goes forward and we find that at the end a match is found by using this particular sequence. Okay, so we have another 3 minutes more. If you're having any doubt, okay, particularly in this example, okay, this is a very important problem. It may be asked in 14 marks or 15 marks. I don't know what is the mark better for you. So it is a very important problem which will be there in the 5th unit. So this is the Turing machine under consideration. It has got two transitions, one is this, another one is this. So based on that, we are preparing 5 strings, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And based on that, this table is constructed. And we are considering the instantaneous description of the Turing machine. And this is the modified post correspondence problem solution to the given problem. Okay. So I'll just pass here. If you're having any doubt, probably you can ask now. You can unmute and ask me, or otherwise I'll do one thing. I'll escape from the, yeah. If you're having any doubt, you can ask.